I am on 1% battery.
Your computer.
And I have forgotten my charger at the office. So let's get this intro in now.
Oh my goodness. Hello and welcome to We Will Manage, the podcast exploring the weird and wonderful world of work. We're two young professionals figuring out our careers one conversation at a time. And today we're talking about sleep. So stick around to see why sleep debt is nonsense, what we have in common with flies, and just how amazing the human body is. And don't worry, Saoirse is joining me for today's episode.
Show me to the camera.
Here she is. Here, speak now.
I'm coming.
She's coming, guys.
Cold tea.
I know, it's not nice. It reminds me of something though. There was a time, I think it was honestly just when it was so hot in Spain that I was making like a normal cup of tea and putting ice in it. I know. It sounds really weird, but it isn't as bad. But it has to be cold, you know. Oh, Knox. It looks like Knox just mysteriously got let into the room, as in like let himself in.
No. You're not changing the subject that quickly. I mean, we can talk iced tea, but like a cup of tea with milk in it that's supposed to be boiling hot with ice in it.
Yeah. Desperate times, okay. I wouldn't choose it.
Don't
I won't be subjecting
ever tell my mum that you did that. She
will
will cancel
take
you.
my nationality away.
Oh yeah, that's long gone. You can say goodbye to that.
How about?
I'm gonna kick you out of the country. You should be careful. Nice
I know. I should keep my voice down.
You should be ashamed.
Knox is scoffing. I feel like he's judging me too.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's judging you right now.
Thank God
I'm
we
just
weren't
kidding.
recording.
Everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want. Put ice cubes in your tea. See who cares.
Oh, are we recording? Oh, we weren't recording still.
I got that on camera. You are cancelled.
Have you listened to the new Taylor Swift album?
I have not.
One of the songs, she goes, "Good thing I like my friends cancelled." Anyway, so disclosure. I don't know if I'll leave this in the episode or not, but today's episode is about sleep. And I started doing the prep for it. And it got very long. So I have proposed 4 episodes for sleep. It's like a mini series. We can not do it.
Brilliant.
But today's one is just kind of an introduction to sleep or why we sleep or something like that. My other proposed ones are Sleep 2, stepping into the world of dreams, which I thought was interesting because you were saying about nightmares. So I thought that could be like a fun, I don't know, trying to like dive into the psychology of dreams and nightmares and all that. Third one, just like a bit more practical on how to get a better night's sleep. Because I, again, was trying to include it, but it just felt so like superficial to go over it quickly. So if we like to do that as a separate one. And the last one is the different types of people when it comes to sleeping, how like night owls and early birds is an actual thing, and that it's not just people being lazy or productive, that it is an actual thing. Again, I tried to touch on it and it just felt very like... So that's my proposed mini-series on sleep.
I take it. I'm taking it. Once every 2 episodes for the next 6 episodes is going to be... What do you guys think? Well, let us know. Do you want us to go into the details of sleep?
If a mini series on sleep is something that you would be interested in, or is today's episode enough? Because that is absolutely fair if it is. I have been brought my orange juice and now Knox is whining to get out. So, cheers.
I wonder what the proportion of gin is. I want to see your face when you try it.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, either it blends in very well or it isn't a lot. Let's hope it's not a lot. If not, this episode might get interesting.
Do you have to go to the office tomorrow?
I do.
Great.
Right. So we're going to start with a little true or false game.
Ooh.
So you tell me if you think these statements are true or false. Your brain stops working while you sleep.
False.
Snoring means that you're sleeping well or in a
False.
deep sleep. Alcohol helps you sleep.
False.
And the average person dreams about 2 hours a night.
I'm going to say true.
That is true. So you got them right. Good job. If anyone's curious, alcohol sedates you. It doesn't restore you. So even though you might feel like you're sleeping well, I know we're saying alcohol, probably similar for most drugs. Your body doesn't actually do what we're going to talk about, but it does while it sleeps. So even though you feel like you've gotten a deep sleep, it hasn't actually like restored itself. Snoring is often linked to poor quality sleep, actually, because of what's going on there. And your brain doesn't stop working. It does sometimes, in some stages, it pretty much turns off. But in other stages, it can be like actually just as active, if not more, than when we're awake. I'm going to start with a quote from Matthew Walker, who is the author of Why We Sleep, which is a lot of... before I start with this quote, I actually wanted to start with a disclaimer. I just didn't write it down, so I forgot. Sleep. I love sleep, and I could sleep anywhere. Since I was tiny, my parents always used to say, like, they could take me to, like, a party, and when I was tired, I'd just curl up on a sofa and fall asleep. Like, I've never had any problem sleeping. Even now, as an adult, I feel like sometimes I might be, like, thinking loads and, like, just in my head so much. But as soon as I realize I'm quite good at turning it off, I'm falling asleep and I don't, like, wake up, like, panicked in the middle of the night or anything like that, which I know does happen to some people. So with all that in mind, I find everything to do with sleep and learning about it really fascinating. However, if you are someone who struggles with sleep, maybe these episodes aren't for you. Just because I know from my mum, who does struggle to sleep a lot, that these kind of things that we're talking about in today's episode, and maybe in other sleep episodes, it actually stresses her out to know that her not getting sleep means that she's not getting, the rest or whatever, that we're going to talk about today. And it actually does the opposite. She lies there thinking, if I don't sleep, then it's going to be even worse because of all these things that I now know. So, like, it's also, I don't know. I think all of it, like everything we talk about in this podcast, is to be taken with a pinch of salt. I don't want to put any pressure on anybody. And yeah, if maybe sleep is something that for whatever reason you're a little bit anxious around already, maybe it's not for you. Or maybe you learning about it will help. It depends what kind of person you are. But yeah.
I can definitely relate to that. Sleep is something that in the past has made me very anxious, especially like I had a bit of a couple of very anxious years during university, and I was so strict about how much sleep I needed. Anything getting in the way of that would make me basically have like a breakdown. So it is something that's definitely caused anxiety in my life. And I actually read this book that you've just mentioned, or is or going to quote. And and it was actually it kind of went through my mind, like, is reading this book going to be constructive for me, or is it just going to make me more anxious about it? And I have to say that it hasn't made me more anxious. It's just kind of made me more aware of me prioritizing my sleep is a good thing. Yeah. But I don't think it's made me more anxious about, but then it kind of coincided with a bit of a transformational period in my life anyway. Yeah. So, I can definitely relate to that. And if it's something that does cause you a bit of anxiety, then take it as a bit with a pinch of salt. And
exactly. And I also feel like all this information, it can be very like, it can feel a bit black and white. And like there's things about there's a stat, for example, in here that sleep deprived people and a sleep deprived person is just defined as anyone that's been up anywhere over 17 to 19 hours. So it's not even like that much. That they perform as badly as those at 0.08% blood alcohol levels, which for context is if you're pulled over, that's the legal driving limit. And like the other day, we went out with friends and I was joking that I'd been up for 24 hours and blah, blah, blah. And I know these things. And, you know, like, it's not like it shouldn't, like you were saying, like not getting that time to sleep, you shouldn't have a mental breakdown about it, basically. Just it's a way, like more to just kind of be proud of yourself when you do manage to get a good night's sleep or whatever, rather than the other way around and being like at the club going, I should be in bed. The quote that I was going to start, but not really at this point, the episode with, is, you wouldn't skip meals for 3 days and expect to think clearly. So why do we do that with sleep? In the book of Why We Sleep, it's been a while since I read it. I really, really enjoyed it when I did read it, but it was quite a while ago. So if there's anything that you remember as we speak that comes up, because you've read it a lot more recently, please let me know. But yeah, he says that people talk about there being 3 pillars of health, which are diet, exercise, and sleep. But he thinks that that metaphor is wrong, and that sleep isn't just one of the pillars, but it's actually the foundation on which the other 2 are on. Because without good sleep, the benefits of diet are compromised because you crave more sugar and fat, and your hunger and satiety. Your hormones that make you hungry become unbalanced. And then the benefits of exercise are also reduced because your muscle recovery is slower and your injury risk increases, and motivation also is not there. I was actually, someone who works with me, she is an MMA fighter. And I was like, she was saying like what she did, like what her routine looked like. And a normal day for her, she works out twice. And I said to her, like, where, like, how? Like, I struggle, like, to work out, like, 3 times a
Once
week.
a
Like,
week,
how how are you doing it, like, twice a day? And she said that, you know, there's a lot of things, like, there's obviously, like, the motivations because of the competition, and then she has really good personal trainers, and she eats really well, blah, blah, blah. But the one thing was getting good sleep. Like, if she didn't get good sleep, she just could not. So, yeah. And then also that your immune system and emotional regulation weaken when you don't sleep. And we're going to go into all the reasons why in this episode. So yeah, he says sleep isn't 1/3 of health. It's what holds everything else upright. So.
Love this topic. You've already said so many things that I want to say so much about, but I'm going to let you go through them one by one.
Well, so the thing is, there's so much. I was actually struggling so much to like organize this episode. It feels like a little bit all over the place because there is just so much that you can go into and so many different points that are interesting. So please jump in whenever you want.
Well, I think the one that struck me maybe the most is the motivation. Like, this is something that I've really learned, and I kind of stand by now, is that often at the end of a long day, or at the end of any day, really, I can really feel that my motivation drops. Everything is a bit more difficult and a bit less exciting, and I'm a lot less inspired and a lot less, I have a lot less energy, which seems obvious, but it's a lot of the time in the evening when you have the time to think is when you make decisions about your life, and about work and about things that you should maybe change. And when I get to the end of my day and I realize that this is happening to me, that I'm feeling that motivation drop, I have now gotten used to giving myself permission to
the wine, guys.
Yeah. Put that aside, put that aside in my brain and be like, sleep on it, which mum always told me. Sleep on it. It'll be better tomorrow.
It's one of those expressions. Yeah.
And it's just, it's so true, because when you are tired and you haven't had enough sleep, everything is just so much harder and so much less inspiring and less motivating. And you can make really rash decisions in that situation if you force yourself into it, So I'm
100%
pretty proud that I've now kind of set up a mental...
You're your own mum.
Yeah. So yeah, I do now allow myself at the end of the day to be like, you're tired, you've had a long day, forget about it, think about it tomorrow, Try again tomorrow. So I definitely feel that drop of motivation when you're tired and when you haven't gotten enough sleep is big.
Yeah. It's so interesting you saying about that, about the expression, because we kind of went into that a bit in one of the last episodes of our first season, the one of the psychology of the mind. And we were talking about all sorts of expressions like trust your gut and what does your heart tell you and stuff like that. And like why those are sayings when even within people who don't believe in that kind of stuff. And things like sleep on it. It's just such like casual everyday expressions that they must be there for a reason. A little fact. The World Health Organization now considers sleep loss an epidemic in industrialized nations. So if you feel like you're not getting enough sleep,
you're not the only one.
You're not alone. You're not alone. This is a few conclusions that I've kind of come to, which we have kind of talked about in other episodes already in this season. But we live in a culture that definitely treats sleep like it's this luxury, especially when we're talking entrepreneurship and founders and all that, and the hustle and all that kind of mindsets, and all that's very, very glorified. But as, again, Matthew Walker from Why We Sleep says, it's not just something that you do when, when you can't anymore, or it's not something that is a time waster. It is a biological necessity because it affects every single system in our body. And something that I kind of like came across, which I just thought was interesting, so another rabbit hole that I kind of went down, is that it's something that's universal across all species. There's not a single species on Earth that doesn't sleep, at least has some version of it. So everyone knows the whole thing about how dolphins like sleep with like half their brain on because they have to go up to breathe or something like that. Other animals that like can't blink, so they don't actually like close their eyes, but they'll have like another way of like resting and like turning their brain off, and it looks different to how we sleep, but at the end of the day they're all doing the same thing. And there's something that they're still researching. They still don't really completely understand why every single species needs to sleep at some point, but research in general points to restoration, energy conservation, memory consolidation, which is a big one, and emotional regulation, which is a very big one also when it comes to mental health. Sleep might be one of the most universal biological needs on Earth, which is just fun to think about. And that's why it makes it so fascinating. Every living thing, from dolphins to flies, must pause to repair, remember, and reset. So it's nice that we're all in, and it's something we all need to do, no matter how advanced we get.
Repair, remember, and reset.
Yeah.
I like it.
I want to throw out 5 facts that I found interesting while doing the research about sleep. This I feel like one that we all kind of know, but I put it in anyway, which is that you spend about 1/3 of your life sleeping. So if you live to be 90, that means you sleep for 30 years.
That's terrifying.
I know, right? So you spend about 1/3 of your life sleeping, which obviously makes sense. They say to sleep 8 hours a day. So it's there. But humans are the only mammals that delay sleep.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Which I haven't included it in this episode because I was like, this is really interesting because it tied in a lot to what we were talking about in the Sunday Scaries. episode, because there's a thing that we do, which is delay sleep to feel like we have control. Something like revenge sleep procrastination or something like that. But we will touch on that at some other point. But anyway, yeah. This is, well, I feel like for me it's really obvious, but I don't know if it's because of reading the book or if I knew it before, which is that you can't catch up on lost sleep. Like that's just a concept that we have, but it's not. I
don't think that's obvious at all. I don't think that's obvious at all. And I think I only knew this because of when you told me it, when you read the book. And since then, it's been a fact that I've been very aware of. Yeah. And it's so interesting. Like, so you can't catch up on sleep that you've lost. So if you've had a really short night, so you've gone to bed at midnight and have had to get up at 4 a.m. to go and catch a flight, that's not sleep that you can recover. Yeah,
you can't then get to wherever you're flying to and sleep for another 4 hours and then or whatever.
But you can like charge up on sleep ahead, so you can have a siesta in the middle of the day if you know you're going to be out late.
Yeah, exactly. Number 4, and this was the one that prompted me to want to do a whole episode about dreams, is that dreams usually last between 5 and 20 minutes, and we typically have 4 to 6 dreams every night, even though we don't remember sometimes any.
I've been dreaming so much these past weeks. I'm not going to get into that.
Remembering that you're dreaming. No, that's the thing. I love like the whole dream, and obviously that's something that they still have like so little, like they still don't really know hardly anything about dreams, and I just find it so interesting. So that's why I was like, you know what, let's do a whole episode. I think it'll be really fun. And then the last one, which also has led me to want to do a whole episode about this, is that night owls and early birds are real. It's not just something that we say to, it's actually biologically how we are wired. And yeah, the whys and hows are so interesting, but let's not get into it because yes.
Survival.
So, yeah, exactly. That's all we'll say. Let's dive into a little bit of the science of sleep and what actually is going on when we're sleeping, because it is not passive, even though that's kind of what you imagine, is that you just kind of get comfortable, close your eyes and drift off, and it's a very passive thing. Your brain and body are doing a lot of active maintenance while you're asleep. So the stages are, we have like 4 big ones. There's light sleep. It is very like up and down, your sleep. If you have an Apple Watch, or any kind of fitness watch, I assume, if you wear it when you sleep, it does actually tell you about the stages and stuff, and you'll see, and it's all to do with how you're breathing and your heart rate and all that. And it does like go up and down all the time. So yeah, light sleep is kind of when you can lucid dream, when you can kind of feel like you're, you're seeing things that you don't know if they're dreams or not. Then you have stage 2. And this is where we spend most time, which is around 50%, where our heart rate slows, our body temperature drops, and memory processing begins. Then we have stage 3, which is called deep sleep, or NREM, or NREM, which is, the REM is rapid eye movement. NREM is non-rapid eye movement. So this is where it's all happening very physical. Your body's repairing, your immune system's restoring itself, and all sort of hormone stuff is getting released and recharging, and it's all very in your body. And then stage 4, which is REM, is when the brain is active. It's at its most active. It's when dreaming happens. And I found this so interesting when I saw this in the book. Your body's paralyzed in this time, so that you can't act out your dreams, because they very often say when you sleepwalk and stuff.
Unless you're Alba.
But when you sleepwalk and stuff, they'll say, and what were you dreaming? Because like this and that. You weren't. You're not dreaming. If you can sleepwalk, you can't be dreaming, because the whole point is that your body is some. How
is that possible though? For sure, you're dreaming in some sort of way. Isn't it just you're paralyzed?
Maybe you're in between.
It's like worn off. Because when you say, no, tío, peraro, tío. And then you fall over a big bear in the middle of the night. You definitely, there's something going on in your mind.
We'll talk about that in the dream episode. It's some kind of like chemical or something that your brain releases. So essentially, like, it just cuts off so that you can't, start acting out your dreams and injure yourself. And this is where the emotional and creative processing happen. So we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into stage 3 and stage 4 for the podcast for season 2 mental health. It's more, we're going to focus a bit more on when the brain is getting regulated, REM sleep, and the brain activity. So it is highly active during the stage, and it's actually very, very like when you're awake. It's doing all sorts. Your physiology, your breathing and heart rate are sped up and are quite erratic. During this stage, you have intense and vivid dreaming, which happens at the stage, and then the muscle paralysis. So it's just so you don't hurt yourself. And this is where your brain is passing all the information from your short-term memory of that day that you've learned and things have happened into your long-term memory. So that's where, we're not going to go into it now, but obviously it's saying at the same time, this is when you dream. So it is why so often you have dreams about what's happened in that day or what you're worried about or anything like that, because this is this is the process that's happening. This is the reason why they say things like before an exam, it's really important to get a good night's rest, because you are literally taking whatever you've studied that day for your big important exam and putting it into your long term to make it easier for you to pass your exam the next day. And
so they're assuming that you've last minute crammed. Yeah.
And then in your NREM, so your non-rapid eye movement stage, which is stage 4, general inactivity, and you kind of look a bit dead to the world. And inside of this stage, you have another 3 stages, which are called N1, N2, and N3. And basically, it's just deeper, like deeper and deeper and deeper. So N3 is like the deepest, which is really when like you've got like really quite shallow breath, and like it is like a little bit like, you're okay. And it's when your body's repairing, regenerating tissue. It builds bone and muscle, which is crazy. And strengthens your immune system.
Human body is bonkers.
It's crazy. So there's all sorts of apps for when you are wearing some kind of smartwatch that can tell what stage you're in, that you can set this app for your alarm to go off in a 15, half an hour, 45-minute window, whatever you want. And what it does, it'll go off when you're in a lighter stage, as light as possible, because when you get woken up for whatever reason, it could be your alarm clock going off, for example, in deep sleep, but especially like the deepest, so N3, you can feel, even if you've had a 10-hour night sleep, you can feel exhausted because naturally you would never wake up at that time. Like your body's doing some serious stuff, and getting interrupted, it just totally, like, you can feel exhausted for the rest of the day, even if you did sleep as long as you like. Whereas if you get woken up, lighter, then that's just a lot more natural, that anything, any little noise, any whatever could wake you up, even your own body saying, okay, I'm ready. I was using that for a while. I don't really use the Apple Watch for sleeping anymore. No particular reason. My dad always was going on to me about how weird it is, and that surely must be bad for you. I don't know. We're not going to get into it. I don't know. It's not a debate I can be bothered with. But I did definitely notice a difference. Waking up was a lot easier.
I tried that for, I think, maybe a month, because a lot of the time it's like paid apps. But I think I tried it for a month when I moved to France, when I first moved to France. And I remember it making a big difference and like waking up so much easier,
Yeah.
And you might be waking up so much nicer to wake up.
Yeah, you might be waking up half an hour. Like you might wake me up between 6 and half 6, and it wakes you up at 6 instead of half 6, because that just happens to be when you're in lighter. And you wake up way better than if you woke up at half 6, which 100%. You would think, half an hour more surely is better. And no,
I wonder if people that sleep together, especially couples that sleep really together, Do you think they like hormonally tend to follow? Yeah, kind of sync up, because I feel like in the morning, a lot of the time, if it's like a weekend morning, me and my partner kind of wake up at the same time, or at least if he wakes up and starts moving, it's my body usually. Sometimes no, sometimes I just sleep for another hour.
It's totally out of it.
Yeah, but some like I feel like I never feel like I'm being woken up by that movement, you know? I feel like I have woken up to that movement.
Yeah, there must be. Very often we'll go to bed before my partner because I am someone who feels like I need more sleep than he does. Like and that's absolutely fine. As in, we don't all need 8 hours of sleep. That's also something that goes into the we will sleep. We will sleep. The gin. No, why we sleep book is that some people can, I mean, without taking the piss, because some people, like, was it like Mary Curie or someone like that like famously only slept like 4 hours or something. That's a little bit extreme. Didn't your ex's dad only sleep like 3 hours or something crazy?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I think it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit excessive, but like some people are absolutely fine with 6 or 7, whereas other people do need like 9. And some people are good with 8. Like, you know, it does vary. The reason I was saying that is because I'll go to bed sooner. And when we initially started living together, I would always wake up when he'd come into the room. Even like, as in not like properly wake up, but like stir. And now I rarely do. So I think you do also just kind of get used to the noises, used to the, you know, sometimes I do, which is
maybe also like you feel safer, you know, you're like, it's less of an intrusion to your personal space.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you feel safe.
Something that happens during sleep is the glymphatic rinse, which is when the brain's glymphatic system widens the space between brain cells by 60% to flush metabolic waste more efficiently. Okay. And this is a key reason why regular sleep supports long-term brain health. So we're just talking in general, like not even like when it comes to like emotional reactions, etc. It's just your being able to remember things when you're 80. And you know, your brain's still functioning and like to a good capacity, and diseases of the brain and stuff like that won't affect you. Like it is, like sleep is actually a cure. Well, not a cure, I guess more prevention for a lot of things. I'm just going to touch on it a little bit, but I don't want to spend too much time here. But some of the things that can happen when you do have lack of sleep. So we did mention a little bit before about as a sleep deprived person, you can perform as badly as those who are at 0.08% blood alcohol levels, which, like I said, that's the legal driving limit in a lot of countries, which that means that you are considered too impaired to drive safely. It's a big deal. You know, it's not like it's like legally you aren't safe to drive because at that level of sleep deprivation, your reaction times are a lot slower. Your attention isn't quite there. Your decision making isn't very good, and your coordination. All those things are as bad as someone who is legally drunk.
Wow. That's why you should always sleep on it.
Yeah, exactly. After about a day without sleep, which is what I did for the first time in years, the last weekend.
Me too, actually.
That's funny. So after about a day without sleep, your brain functions like it's intoxicated, even though you might feel awake, which is just interesting. Like your brain is the same as if you'd had some alcohol. Like it's feeling the same way.
I can totally attest to that.
Yeah, 100%. Just like things that you feel, like one thing that I feel a lot with lack of sleep, things like feeling very short-tempered and like, you know, quite like, all that. I feel it a lot.
No inhibitions.
So yeah, lack of sleep leads to cortisol spikes, which we've talked about cortisol before. It's the stress hormone. Mood instability, which is what I just mentioned. That's a nice way of saying it. Poor decision making, which is what you've been saying. Slower reaction times, which I just mentioned with the driving. And something that's very interesting is that a lot of places had is weaker empathy. So all these things are big and very important when it comes to leadership and entrepreneurship and just the work ambito,
world.
space. Yeah. Yeah. And I can totally understand the weaker empathy. I mean, it's kind of the same as, me saying you're short with someone. You don't care. Yeah, you're like, just, shush, I don't, stop moaning, like kind of vibe. It's all things that if your boss comes in and he hasn't slept all that well the night before, you might notice pretty quickly. Might not be that great. So yeah, we're not going to linger there much longer. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit what goes on. We're just going to talk a little bit about sleep debt and how you can't catch up, which we talked about it before. So people think that if they like cram during the week, then on the weekend they can like just sleep extra and it'll all be okay. And like we were saying before, that way round doesn't really work, but it does work the other way around. So if you've slept a lot the weekend before without needing it, and then go into a week that's a little bit, you have to sleep a couple hours less than you'd like to. That, yes, but you can't binge sleep to undo it.
I guess that comes down to you can binge sleep to feel less tired, of course. Like anybody can say, oh yeah, I went to sleep and like I slept for 15 hours and then I feel better. Yeah, you don't feel tired, but your brain hasn't done the work that it would have done if you'd slept right in the first place.
If you get a bad night's sleep and you don't have any hours in the bank, then your brain isn't going to be able to, completely regenerate. What did we say? What were the re's that we said before?
Remember, repair, and...
I still haven't found it. Oh, here. And reset.
Reset.
Yeah, two or three. So, yeah, it might, like you say, you might feel like you've rested, but it hasn't done the things. Your brain and your body haven't done the things. It hasn't had time to do the things. So, once it hasn't done that, it's like that. You can't then make up for that. It's just that hasn't happened, and then you just have to move on.
Yeah.
It makes you 60% more emotionally reactive, having lack of sleep. Which,
don't have important conversations with your partner or your business partner when you're on a lack of sleep.
Yeah. Performance impairment from sustained wakefulness mirrors alcohol intoxication, that we were saying. So even just with 17 to 19 hours awake, this produces a comparable to 0.05% of blood alcohol level. And then 24 hours approaches 0.10. And we were saying that 0.08 is the legal driving. So, yeah.
Smashed.
He's walking around smashed. Also, to make you feel better, a stat from NHS in the UK is that 37% of adults in the UK regularly suffer from poor sleep or insomnia. I can't imagine what having insomnia must feel like. It must just be horrible. Like, my heart truly feels for you if that is because I love sleep so much, and if I could, I would sleep 10 hours a day and be so happy about it. Insomnia must just be so horrible.
I remember once during university, I think it was when I only first started drinking coffee, and I think I had a coffee a bit late in the day because it was like before an afternoon class, and I went out with my cool new friends and everybody was drinking coffee. I was like, okay, I'll have a coffee. I had never drinking coffee before, and it was like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And I remember that night I lay in bed and I wasn't able to get to sleep, and it was such an uncommon occurrence that, oh my God, I panicked. I was like, why can't I sleep? I was like so in such a state. I think I got up and like started doing my math homework or something like that, or whatever homework university equivalent is. And it was horrible. I hated it. I panicked. And it hasn't, like you, I'm pretty good at getting to sleep once I'm in bed and have closed my eyes.
Yeah.
So, I can't imagine what that must be like, and really feel for you if you go through that.
Yeah, really. So just a little bit as a roundup on how, for this episode, on how sleep and mental health relate, as that's what this season is all about. If this is the first episode that you're listening to of this season, this is episode 10, I think, of this season. We've been talking about mental health and how it can affect us and our workspace. And something I saw that I thought was really interesting is that sleep and mental health are bidirectional, because poor sleep can cause mental distress, and then mental distress can disrupt your sleep. So you can very easily get into a vicious circle with it. Chronic poor sleep is linked to increased risk of anxiety and depression. Lack of rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, can make emotional regulation harder, because you feel more reactive to just everything going on around you. Good sleep improves memory, empathy, and patience, which are all essential things when talking about work, but also just about relationships in general. To end on, I've got a little quote from Why We Sleep, the book we've been mentioning this whole episode, that says, "Sleep is the single most effective thing that we can do to reset our brain and body health each day." So
An apple a day keeps the doctor away, and 8 hours of sleep does even better.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw somewhere a quote, but I obviously haven't written it down. We think of sleep as a thing that we do when we're done living, but it's the number one thing that we need to live, or something like that. Like,
we should think about it as, instead of it being what we do at the end of our day, because we've done the day and are tired now, we should think about it as the best way to start our day. Is getting that good night's sleep.
Yeah.
And maybe to add a little snippet of personal experience, when I was traveling and had 2 weeks away from any civilization and normal life, one of the things I did the most of, because I had nothing else to do, was sleep. And I wouldn't put on an alarm because I didn't have one. And I would go to sleep early because I would get bored. And I was, at the beginning of my trip, I was sleeping maybe 8-hour nights. And by the end of it, I was sleeping. I think I maybe slept like up to 12 hours naturally. Without actually being tired in the first place, like my body got so chill, and I was like, oh, give it to me. And that is the best I have ever felt, like in terms of mental health, in terms of creativity, in terms of motivation. I mean, obviously it was all other things too, but I think having enough sleep it makes such a difference. Which is
why when I read in that book, Why We Sleep, about it being the foundation that everything else is on, it just made so much sense. Because, obviously you could then argue, but if you don't eat well, then... Which, yes, obviously the pillars are the pillars, but it's just without sleep, those pillars just can't be as good as they can be. I said at the beginning, you can do as much exercise as possible, but you're going to feel exhausted after 20 minutes, and your muscles aren't going to be able to take it all in because you're so tired. Your diet, you're not going to be able to, it's all depends on sleep. And if you do manage to have that baseline, it makes such a difference. It's I'm pretty sure I've said it already at some point on this podcast, but to set yourself up for success, to make things easy for yourself, and getting enough sleep, I think, is definitely a very good way to make things easier for yourself. If you're going into a hard day at work, in whatever situation, if the day before you can get a good night's sleep, that day is going to be just that little bit better.
I love that. I think that's a brilliant note to end the episode on.
Yeah. So, obviously, like I said at the beginning, I feel like if you did end up listening and take the risk, none of this is to put pressure on yourself. For me, I found it fascinating, and it made me want to sleep more, in a good way. I was like, this is so cool. This is such a cool tool that is such a easy, cheap thing that I can do, And
yeah, and
hopefully
to
that's how
not
you
like
take it
hate
as
on
well.
yourself for
wanting to
feeling
sleep,
guilty.
maybe.
Yeah, feeling guilty of getting up a bit later or going to bed a bit earlier and not doing that other productive thing that you could be doing instead.
Exactly.
That's
Don't do
most
the
productive.
revenge sleep procrastination, which we will get to in a different episode. It's always going to backfire on you. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this introduction to sleep.
I did.
Maybe it will turn into a little mini series.
Let us know, because we won't go into a whole mini series if you don't care about sleep. But we definitely will if you are.
And I feel like this one, as it's an introduction, there was touching on bads and highs and lows, but they're not all going to be like that. I feel like the dream one could be a really fun one. Basically, us just chatting nonsense, possibly.
Love it. Can't wait for that.
So yes, it's just a bit of fun, and it's diving into a universe that I had no idea about, and it really, like I've already said, fascinated me when I read Why We Sleep. So yeah, hope you got fascinated by it too, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for sticking around. Let us know what you thought on all of our social medias. We will manage podcast. And we look forward to talking about whatever we're going to talk about next week, because I don't know.
Yeah. Good. This is just to show that we are human. Don't have things super
sleep,
planned.
okay?
Exactly. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Night night.